Hello, it's John Heaton, and it's not quite my normal setup. As you can see, I'm not at home right now, so I'm in London, and I thought I'd do a video on the two new Abba tracks, because they just came out the other day as a prelude to a new album coming out in November. So pretty exciting for all Abba fans. A mixture of excitement and slight trepidation that it might not live up to their greatest work, in common with a lot of bands who come back. But, you know, I went to Spotify, I played the two tracks. I've been playing them more or less on repeat for the last few days. And this is my verdict. The first track is a ballad called I Still Have Faith in You, sung by Frida. And her voice is sounding quite good. The tune is not that memorable. And if I compare it to some of the Frida ballads from the Abba years, the glory years, like An Angel Passing Through My Room, it's not as moving. It's trying to be moving, writing words about their comeback, but it doesn't quite grab you. I think one of the reviews called it a damp squib. But on the other hand, most reviews have been raving about these tracks. So I think in general, the reception has been a little bit over the top, because these two tracks have their moments, but they're not really in the same class as vintage Abba, if we're honest. Particularly that first one. It's got all the elements of an Abba song. Nice production, nice strings, bit of a military drum roll in the middle, and some harmonies from Agnetha towards the end of the song, although that is missing from this first song. But on the whole, the melody is not that memorable, and they've done a lot better than this. But the second song, I was happy to say, was a pretty big improvement on the first one, and Agnetha takes the lead here, and it's called a song called Don't Shut Me Down. And whilst it's not in the upper echelons of Abba's songs, it reminded me a little bit of Under Attack, some of their later day songs, like Under Attack and Shall I Laugh or Cry. It's got a nice groovy rhythm to it, and again, the musicianship is superb. I'm not sure if they're using the same musicians as they did, but the guitar and the drums and the whole sound production sounds very familiar. And there's even a little piano entry from Benny when the beat comes in, because it starts off quite slowly. So I would give that second track a 7 out of 10, and the first track maybe a 4 or 4.5. Album coming in November, which I'm really looking forward to. Those tracks which have just been released were the first ones they recorded, so maybe the others will be of a greater quality. One never knows. It's their first song since 1982, so 39 years since The Visitors, and since a couple of singles, first album since The Visitors, and a couple of singles from 1982, Under Attack and The Day Before You Came. These songs are not as good as The Day Before You Came, so don't get too excited that they've just carried on where they left off, because it's not on the same level as that superb single. But, you know, what can one expect when the Beatles came back with Free as a Bird and Real Love? Let's be honest, they sounded like the Beatles, but they were not on a par with vintage Beatles, and the same, I think, can be said of this new Abba. It was nice to hear those voices again, and nice to have Abba back. Should they have left it alone? Perhaps. I mean, I had always admired them for leaving it alone for the last 39 years, but finally, for one reason or another, they've decided to make a comeback. And they're all in their 70s, so it's quite comical. And they're coming back not with a tour, but with something called Avatar, which is them going on tour with images of them projected onto the screen or on the stage or something. I don't think I'll bother going to see that, but I am going to buy the album for sure. So that was it. Big news, front page news in England here, and headline news on the evening news program on the BBC. So it's a pretty big event. Will it live up to expectations? Probably not. But are we glad it happened? Yeah. On balance, yes, and these songs are not dreadful, and the second song I'm really rather fond of, and it's growing on me. So that was the Abba reunion, first impressions. Thank you for watching. See you next time.